So we at the center are used to criticism. Sometimes it's valid critiques, and notes are made. Others, well, you saw what happened with some prior challenges. But when we were admiring Goji Guy's stupendous simian Bruce, we didn't expect a call-out from someone bursting onto the video at the last minute.
Indom 2.0? Good job.
Oh yeah? It's on. Seems like after getting hanked, Goji Guy is now on a mission to get others' creations hanked as well. Two can play at this game, and if we are not spared from criticism, neither are they. So today on Goji Center, we're using 2020 hindsight and critiquing the one who started all of this. Both the design of the original Indominus, how this thing was managed, and a few questionable moments in the process that led up to the highlight of the good doctor's illustrious career. Get ready, Dr. Wu, and maybe next time you won't let Goji Guy talk you into making foolish remarks. Dr. Henry Wu is a genius with few peers, but we weren't going to let this one slip by. No, sir. Especially when, instead of just addressing us personally, he decided to hide and have a lookalike deliver his retort. Now, classy act having award-winning actor B.D. Wong deliver the punchline, but come on, Doc! Canonically, Dr. Wu first started seriously working with the concept of hybrid dinosaurs on purpose sometime in the 2000s. With the facilities on Sorna largely unusable, we now know that some of the earlier attempts were carried out on St. Hubert. Wu himself may or may not have been physically present at any point, but we like to think that the good doctor would have had enough professionalism to run a tighter ship as the head geneticist. The failures of your subordinates are on you, Henry, so you might not have been the guy chewing on a Snickers bar, but on some level he was there because of you, dude. And, well, we all know how that song and dance goes. Now, the breakout itself wasn't necessarily your fault, Doc, but between that and apparently trying to engineer monsters and dragons with the six-legged Distortus and Mutadons, you of all people should have been the one learning the most lessons from this incident, given you were already there for the prior breakouts on the first two islands. And did you? Did you ensure animal behaviorists were on call for your pet projects to keep a close watch on it? Did you make sure you didn't wind up wasting time and resources keeping the two Indominus from trying to kill each other? Did you make sure to associate with only the wisest, most intelligent, most careful, and well-planned people to make sure your work was done in the best way possible? And let's remember that it was your gene splicing that caused and perpetuated one of the first major problems for both the first part and making Site B unmanageable after the breakout. You put a lot of pride and stock into making sure all of the dinosaurs could not breed and would drop dead from the lysine contingency within a few weeks. And when the dinosaur DNA needed to make all of this happen was damaged, you and your team skillfully patched it up with not birds, not crocodilians, not any particular close relative at all, but frogs. Woo. Who was it that decided to use the genome of a completely unrelated animal to dinosaurs, and then accidentally forgot to check what features the frog species used might have? And who is in charge of editing the dinosaurs' DNA so they couldn't produce their own lysine in a bid to control them? Which is a complete non-issue considering almost no animals produce their lysine at all, making that whole venture a colossal waste and false hope of it ever being a safeguard. 2.0's a joke, huh? In terms of what, exactly? We'll have you know, we wrecked Isla Nublar on purpose, Wu. Causing the demolition of your workplace twice by achievements of ignorance is not something to be proud of. But let's flash forward to when you had the benefit of hindsight after some amphibian-caused accidents and death by Snickers bar addiction. Your magnum opus, the original Indominus Rex, the ultimate theme park attraction that was so impressive that the internet collectively decided to jump on it just like they did the 2.0. While we loved the design, plenty of others thought this ultimate dinosaur was uninspiring. Basically just a big Allosaurid with spikes. Shout out and throwback to 2015 with the Build a Better Fake Theropod hashtag. Structurally, the original Indominus was portrayed as a perfectly viable killing machine. Performance-wise, it handled pretty well. It was able to run fast enough to keep ahead of a slow-moving helicopter, crack bullet-resistant glass with its claws and teeth, and bend steel. No, these feats do have a lot of X-factors and aren't quite as extreme as some might think. Shrug off attacks from other dinosaurs, and only be lightly wounded by guns largely meant for human combatants or weekend hunting. So is this really the ultimate dinosaur? Well, it certainly fits the bill of what most people might expect one to be, which is understandable given this thing was supposed to be a theme park attraction. But there are some noticeable flaws, all the same. Dr. Wu, please take a seat because biomechanics class is in session. Stability is a huge factor with any theropod and probably one of the key reasons why big theropods either had very robust jaws or very robust arms, not usually both. Shrink-wrapping design aside, the Indom clearly has quite the jacked upper body, and this is actually a problem. Her lower portion past the hips is very long and skinny, not very heavy. In reality, this would lead to balance issues that would have to be sorted out either by having a much thicker tail for more counterweight, wider hips for a more sound center of balance, or the ability to be more comfortable as a quadruped. This is why our revised version addressed both of those concerns, with a much thicker tail from the crocodile and being quite capable on all fours. Without these traits, the original Indominus would be very front-heavy and prone to getting bowled over if she got into a serious fight against something shoving into and wrestling her that was near her size. Or in this case, an emaciated, out-of-shape old Tyrannosaurus who had never fought another bigger theropod in her life, managing to absolutely ragdoll the substantially bigger hybrid. After Rexy got her second win, she was pretty thoroughly dominating the second half of the fight, with Blue only running distraction. The Indominus also has several redundancies in the genome that don't seem to really be contributing all that much. For about half the genome, abelisaurs like Carnotaurus and Rugops are listed for adding extra armor and the aesthetic want of giving it horns. But this could have been achieved with just one of them, and then doubling down on the Deinosuchus already present in the mix for even better armor. And speaking of the proverbial elephant in the room on account of the genome, there's something else we couldn't help but notice. The genome of the Indominus Rex was kept classified, but plenty of data leaks and some not-so-subtle merchandise has made the composition pretty well known. The genome of the original Indominus Rex is as follows: Tyrannosaurus, Velociraptor, Therizinosaurus, Rugops, Quilmosaurus, Abelisaurus, Carnotaurus, Viavenator, Picnonomosaurus, Majungasaurus, Giganotosaurus, Deinosuchus, and a rather nondescript pit viper, cuttlefish, and tree frog. Quite a genetic menagerie. And we know you're lying or not telling us everything, Doctor. Why? Have a look at that hand again. Now, here's a quick crash course in reptile biology. Archosaurs, the lineage of reptilians that dinosaurs, pterosaurs, and crocodilians belong to, alongside their relatives, have several tells across their lineage. These familial traits are present across nearly every species, from the biggest crocodiles to the tiniest songbirds. Some, such as the four-chambered heart, are all internal features. But there is one trait that you can notice on the outside very easily. Across almost all archosaurs, including every member in the genome of the Indominus, they do not have claws on the fourth and fifth fingers of the hand. You can see this with prehistoric dinosaurs and modern crocodilians. Have a look at this alligator's hand. Claws on the first 3 digits, none on the last 2. This is different from any other type of animal that have claws like lizards or mammals. The Indominus and its genetic successor, the Indoraptor, 4-fingered hands and claws on every single finger. This might seem like a tiny detail, but combined with the very obvious detail that it has thumbs, to what degree no dinosaur had, tells us you weren't being entirely honest about what was in this thing. So, let's look at some of the other peculiar traits this thing had. Extremely high intelligence with advanced cause and effect deductive skills? Check. An inherent want to socialize with other beings similar to itself? Check. Vocal mimicry of various noises other kinds of animals make? Check. Long-term memory to figure out things like what the tracker in its shoulder meant? Check. Hunting for sport to a degree that reaches the wholesale slaughter of other species? Check, check, check to heck. Dang, dude, we're almost about to accuse you of something non-canon. But it makes a lot of sense. Dr. Henry Wu. You put human in this thing, didn't you, Wu? Did you put some of you in this thing, Wu? And don't try to deflect by saying there's chimpanzee in this thing. Chimpanzees might hunt, but not to this degree. And they certainly don't kill for sport like this. There is a reason we went out of our way to give our hybrid a different motivation for trying to kill as much as it could, with a rapid growth rate and very near insatiable hunger. Because there's only one animal that has ever been known to exist on Earth that will so flagrantly kill other things just for sport. Colin Trevorrow and official canon might have it where there is no human to be found in this, but Doctor, you're the only one who once said a monster is a matter of perspective. And to countless animals humanity has wiped out, a species of bipedal ape from Africa was a monster. We stress, this ain't canon, but trying to explain it otherwise leads nowhere. And you, Doctor, cooked up a fantastic monster. However, it was clear you were constrained by the situation you were in. You had one grand idiot in Hoskins demanding a prototype for a weapon system on one side, and you had a compassionate but blind idiot in Masrani asking for a theme park attraction. This? Honestly, it was probably one of the better efforts you could have asked for given that kind of job, even if mistakes were made, either from your oversight or other people not doing their jobs right. You still made quite the terror, and one that could have given our scariest creation the fight of its life if they ever threw down. After all, let's remember, for anyone curious how the original Indominus and 2.0 might fare if they were ever pitted against each other, that the 2.0 was engineered not necessarily to be bigger and stronger than the original, but to crash the ecosystem even faster and be objectively deadlier to all other life forms. Between the size estimates of the original Park Menace varying so much and the 2.0 individuals also varying in size, these two horrendous hybrids are roughly around the same size, but were built for two very different reasons. Check your facts about your genomes. Stop working with idiots who can and will botch your creation's development. So next time, if you have a complaint, smart remark, or are in need of more smoke, Doctor, file it with us personally, instead of paying off award-winning actors to do it for you, then having it slapped on a Goji Guy video. 2.0 a joke? Want to witness a real joke? Wait till you find out how even your fully grown Indom would perform against a 2.0 in the real world, and not in a fictional world of fantasy. Go ahead, try us. We dare you, because we're just getting started. Your move, Woo. We'll be waiting. And please, for the love of God, just patch the genome with chickens next time. Could have avoided every problem you've had since '93 with that.